Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the On Time, On Target Morning Brief, where we invest with fighter pilot precision every day. Congrats, first of all, to Alabama for the national championship last night. Was pretty happy about that. Wish it was a little better game, but it is what it is. Today, we got a good show planned for you. We're talking about NIO, which is a Chinese EV maker, which has been on fire. So EV being electric vehicle, and the question is NIO the next Tesla? So we'll take a look at that, and as well as some other names in the space. We also have some day trades for you. Those are up in the chat room right now. We'll get to those in a second. If you're catching us on replay, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. If you want to join us live, it's $25 a month. And with that, let's go ahead and get started. All right, welcome back to Tuesday, January 12th. Make sure you have your chat window set up and your Q&A window set up. Standard disclaimer applies. This is a financial education presentation, and you have to do your own due diligence before acting on anything you hear this morning. Full disclosure information is available at OTOTnow.com. All right, our mission objectives today are going to grow our money, protect our money, and live off our money. Specifically, we're talking about the EV makers, which are listed there, are NIO and Tesla. And is NIO the next Tesla? I'm going to put some other names down here right now that we will take a look at today as well, which you may recognize. We've talked about most of these, but we haven't talked about them in a while. So we're kind of check in, see how they're doing, and then go from there. For question of the day, we're also going to talk about how you gift stock. Had this question come up with a couple of folks I work with, and it's pretty straightforward, but a lot of people don't understand who gets the capital gains when you gift the stock, and that's an important thing to know. All right, for our flow today, long, short, open, short, long, we're going to do a market review. We're going to do a headline review. Everything in the futures just went red just a few seconds ago. Those are the long-term investments we're going to talk about. Then we'll get into short-term execution, and we will execute the market open and get to our question of the day. If you have any tech support issues, Steve at OTOTnow.com is where you need to go to resolve those. Let's switch over to TD Ameritrade ThinkPipes platform. Right now, we're going to take a look at the S&P 500, where we've been. This is, again, a 10-month chart, kind of zooming out to get the big picture. A lot of green since the election and the new year. So hanging out here at that 379 level. We tried to go down a little bit yesterday. I remember we were kind of in the red at the start, but not too bad of a day overall. So anyhow, we could kind of go either way today. Here is that's Palantir. Let's get the SPY in there. Here's where we look for the past 5 days. This is last week. And then again, this was yesterday. We started down here, finished a little higher, kind of got looking good there for a while, and then came back in, and pretty much a lot of negativity going into the market open. So we shall see, and we'll set up our day trades here in a second. Let's go over to CNBC.com. We will check out the markets around the world. So you can see there that the futures are negative. We'll refresh those real quick, but just barely, right? So they were up earlier. That's what you see here, trending negative going into the open. In Europe, everything's in the red across the board so far today. Asia, we have everything. Well, the mainland Asia is up across the board there, pretty significantly, actually. As far as our numbers for yesterday, here's how we closed. Tech took the biggest hit. So again, there's concerns that tech will be in front of Congress having to explain themselves for why they're growing so big. Well, they're growing so big because we all love their products and services, is my take. But so I don't see any real issues with tech long term. Volatility's down after spiking yesterday a little bit. Bonds again trending up, so highest level in nearly 10 months. I think that's overall that's a healthy thing. Let's go over to oil. Up a little bit, up to almost 53. Haven't seen that in a while. Gold and silver down just barely, and then over Bitcoin went down yesterday. It did pop overnight. So again, this is yesterday's number, so it's back above 35,000 for today's open. All right, let's get back. Let's refresh this real quick and talk about some of the headlines out there. So Jeremy Siegel says treasuries are single worst investment of the year, and I've seen that in our big bond fund, FIXD. It has sold off a little bit, so if you're in that, that happens. I mean, when interest rates go up, the bond funds decrease slightly, not a tremendous amount, but slightly. But don't forget, what you're not seeing with that is you get paid monthly out of that bond fund, and that's going to make up for any fractional drop in the price. But treasuries, treasuries were down at like 0.6 for the 10-year. Now they're at 1.1%. So moved out of G-bill, if you remember that name, or SPTL, and more into the FIXD world. Elon Musk confusion. I have to see what that headline is. That's just kind of a funny headline there. All right. There is talk in the news about a couple more variants of the COVID strain, so we shall have to stay tuned for that. I did read a number this morning that 70% of the U.S. vaccines have gone unused, which is kind of amazing to me. You would think, this stuff would be getting, there'd be lines, right, for people to get this thing. Maybe the rollout hasn't been as good. I do love the joke of if we just gave it to Chick-fil-A to roll out, that everybody would be have it by now, but we shall see. All right. Here you go. Citi downgrades NEO. So I'm talking about how it's on fire, and we're taking a look at it. They downgraded NEO, saying red hot China EV play may have trouble challenging Tesla. Yeah, absolutely. You'll see that when I get to my main point, is that you just can't touch it here. It's too much on fire. And if you have it, I think you sell a little bit. So I will take a look at it today of selling some NEO. I do have somebody that's in it kind of heavy, so we'll take a look at that. Bitcoin back above 35,000. Yes, impeachment stuff's going on. That's going to dominate the news all the way up to the inauguration. So it'll be nice to be able to put that behind us, regardless of how it plays out. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look. Excuse me. Over at NEO stock. So here is the chart on NEO stock. So kind of crazy. So when you look back here so we're coming out of COVID in April, it's down at $2.53. Now it's up to, get rid of that, 60, almost $62.50. So kind of a crazy, I'm pulling it up on a side note to see what it's at this morning. So 61.43 is where it is sitting right now. But gosh, it went up to almost 65 yesterday. So a little bit crazy there. But with that big gap up, yeah, it's time to trim some out of this position. Not profitable yet. A lot of these companies stay unprofitable for a while during their growth phase. No dividend. Performance for the year 1,600%. So again, a little bit crazy of the numbers. So can you really do that? Invest in this? No. When you look at Tesla, Tesla has been out of control on how fast it's grown, and it hasn't even grown that much as NEO. So NEO really is, and I think it's largely a price point thing. So if you're in Robinhood or whatever, and you're kind of getting started, you don't really have $800 for a stock, and you don't want to own a fraction of one. So why not buy NEO, which is, a lot cheaper than that. Getting crushed with some ads this morning, so let's get rid of that. Okay, let's go over to look at some other names in the space. Excuse me. Over to Schwab Advisor Street Smart Edge. where you see the two names up top. Get rid of that. All right, so the two names up top and that we've already talked about, and then Lee Automotive, I just put in, we'll put in Xpeng Motors, XPEV. We got Workhorse, which has been on fire as of late. And then, of course, just Drive, which is the EV car maker ETF. So Lee Automotive. So where would I go if you think you've missed both NIO and Tesla? Then you have to go to a derivative. You can look at Lee and XPEV. Obviously, they haven't grown as much. I don't think they're as good a company as NIO, but as money flows, when the big names up here are pretty well maxed out, your derivative names, that's when they start getting some love. So Lee and Xpeng would be fine places to put some money. Workhorse is a little bit different. Now you're getting away from the electric vehicle into final mile delivery. So the big trucks that we talked about, we're still waiting on the U.S. Postal Service contract, which they're supposed to get a chunk of, but Trump delayed that, so that's off into the next administration now. But yeah, Workhorse, very compelling. If they do get that contract, this stock screams higher. If they don't get a piece of that contract, you just have to bail. This thing's going to probably go back well below 20, if you will. So a lot of risk in this name. Don't hop in unless you want to take the ride, but you could make a lot of money, or vice versa. But I do like the name Workhorse and have some of it myself. And again, if you're looking towards a fund because you just don't want to play the overall individual stock game, DRIV is a good place to, it's the Autonomous Electric Vehicle Fund. Long term, if you've heard me talk about this, I do think we go to the autonomous vehicle. I think we get away from individual car ownership and more towards a transportation network of vehicles. That's probably 3, 4, maybe more years away. But I think how society looks now, where everybody has cars in the driveway and the garage, will change over time. So let's take a look at some of the names on the long and short list. Let me put them in the chat. I saw a couple folks just show up for the day trading portion, so you can see the long names and the short names. But I didn't check its volume. I'm not sure any of these have enough volume, so that's what we're going to check real quick. Minerals Tech, no volume, so get rid of MTX. LMNX also gapping up 5%. 8,000, so yuck, low volume. Making a note for myself here. Don't care for that. GNMK, very low volume, so that's off the board. And then RCUS, and also off the board. So only one of the names, LMNX, has any volume of note. Let's look at our short name, GDOT. No volume there either. All right. Well, struck out with that crowd. Let's look over here on to the right-hand side. Fuel Cell Energy is up 7.62 with plenty of volume. No storyline, unfortunately, to go with it. Let's look at our decliners off to the right here. Lemonade selling off. It has plenty of volume. Oh yeah, there's a ton of these with stock offerings, so that's not a good reason to short. BioNTech down almost 5%. Maybe it's a European lockdown appears to be the headline there. That's not enough. Electronic Arts is off hard. 15%, that's out of our range, so we're not going to do it. Let's look at some other names. No volume there. All right, Skills. I don't know what that is, but it does meet the volume. So Fuel Cell and Skills both meet the criteria long, but no headline to go with it. 10-cent Music gapping up. Hong Kong listing is probably our best bet. Not excited about any of these this morning, so we'll put the 3 longs I have for you in the chart and get ready to go. All right, so 10-cent Music is the one that actually has the headline. Again, all 3 of these are long. Fuel Cell and Energy, and then Skills, SKLZ. All right, let me get set up a second. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the On Time, On Target play of the day. We have 10 seconds to the market open. We have 3 longs for you today: 10-cent music, fuel cell, and skills, all of which are depicted on the 3 screens there. There's the opening bell. So we'll zoom in. The futures are in the negative and kind of trending negative. So we'll check on how our longs are doing. This one's 10-cent music up 5% or so. This is the one I like the best. Again, it'll be about a 20-cent stop or 25-cent stop. So let's focus in on it first. It's going to need to go above the high of the day. So 22.25 will be your entry point, which is right there. So 22.25, it just hit it. So we're taking that long with the 25-cent stop. So we're all the way down to 22. Actually, let's move it to a 20-cent stop. That 22.05, whoa, will be the stop. And we're already back out, man. That was about the fastest bust we've had on a trade for a while. And yep, you got to be out. Look at that. Even at 22, it wasn't going to hold. So with longs, you're often looking at the right away. If it makes that new high, that's where you take it. And then put it down below either the low of the day or, near the low of the day, and then go from there. But busted trade did not work. Let's see how fuel cell's doing. Up 6%. It did have some profit taking. So this would be a 15-cent stop. That'd be up to 75. You'd have to take it here. So again, not in love with any of these theses, and then skills is just straight selling off. So I'm not going to bother with that one. This one kind of is compelling, but there's no way you could get down below the low of the day there. So I don't like the setup. So no good on the trade there. I do want to pull up the one short to see that it was gapping down. Go to the screen.corp and see how it acts after the open here. Again, this was low to no volume, so 10,000 shares here. Was gapping down here towards 5%, but no, that's too risky to take that. All right, see some other names over here on a different board. See what's going on. Let's see. JP Morgan is up. Tesla's up. That's kind of crazy, up 3%, back to 837. Let's pull up Lee since we talked about, NEO this morning since we talked about it. All right, so NEO got that downgrade this morning. So look at that. So you had that initial pop up here. Boy, that would have been a nice move. I couldn't short into a name this strong, but certainly you're looking at a $1.50 drop there. So pretty significant drop. I think NEO will be fine. Let's check the other names. We got Lee Automotive, not moving a whole lot, and then XPEV. Up a little bit. So again, these are your second tier players. So money flowing out of NEO could be flowing into either Lee or XPV for a better entry point. Overall, back in the green in the S&P 500 though. So let's take a look at how things are doing around the S&P. So Tesla, there your Tesla's up that 3.62. Q Clean, that's a fund I like. We've been talking about that lately. Clean energy, and encompasses all of the electric vehicles as well as solar, wind, a bunch of different things. There's Workhorse we talked about this morning in the open. Luckin is up, very nice. Luckin hadn't been getting any love lately, so hopefully it's marching back higher. Twitter, after selling off, I think 8% yesterday, is up fractionally. Jumped around. I don't see it anymore, but it was up here a second ago. All right, let's take a look at what's going on the downside. O is Realty Income. So real estate investment trust. This D Kings is an option. NEO, Talked about this morning, BNTX selling off a little bit with no headline. Clickstream down fractionally. GBTC is off a little bit. Let's look at that since that's a fairly new holding. Again, that's the Bitcoin holding. So bought it back in here. Watched it gap down hard yesterday, down into the 36 range, kind of bebop between 36 and 39 all day, and back in here. So when you look at this, it's roughly equivalent to the share price if you put 1,000 behind it. So 36.97 is roughly 36,000 in Bitcoin. That's not one for one though, so it doesn't work exactly. But when you think of that, that's why it's better, much better to hop in my opinion, the GBTC than it is actual Bitcoin. Plus, you get all the tax forms and stuff done for you by your custodian, either Schwab, TDA, or Robinhood, as far as making sure you're right with the IRS at the end of this. Okay, but not a whole lot of huge moves up or down today. Things are kind of holding close to even. So that's what I've got for the market. Let's go back to Investopedia. Typing something in real quick before we get back over here. Okay. It's not taking. We'll try that again. So sharing this back out. Looking for gifting stock with Investopedia. Can I give stock as a gift? Okay, so this is what you can do. Sometimes we get around this around Christmas a lot of times, and then early in the year, because folks end up with a lot of capital gains. So if you have all of your money in IRAs, you can't gift away your stock, right? Because it's in a retirement account. So that is a no-go. You cannot do that. However, if you have stock in a taxable account, or maybe you are doing a stock purchase program or a stock option program with your employer, which is how sometimes people can end up with these huge stock positions and all kinds of gains. If you have that stock and you are going to give money away to possibly a child, which is kind of where you see this normally, is I want to, you can go up to $15,000 a year per child, per adult in the family. So if it's a joint account, you could gift up to 30,000 of the stock. Well, you could sell it and then gift the cash, but the problem there is you're going to eat the capital gains in that case. So if you are trying to be tax smart, why not say you have a child that is 19 and in college and either not working or working a college job where they're making, I don't know, $8,000 to $10,000 during the course of the year because they're working 6-7 hours a week, that kind of thing. Well, obviously their tax bracket's going to be a lot lower. So instead of just giving them cash, why not gift the stock to them, and then they can turn around and sell it if they need the cash. That way the capital gains passes to them, and that's a lot lower tax bracket. They may or may not still be your dependent, because they can also file their own taxes. So you kind of have to think that through. But certainly if they're out of college, you could gift them the stock, and then they file it with their entry-level job. And with capital gains at certain tax levels, they might even not pay anything on the capital gains. So it's kind of a savvy move. But do understand that if you sell the stock, the capital gains will be yours. But if you gift the stock, then the capital gains cost basis transfers to them. So say it's IBM and it's 120 a share and you bought it at 40. Well, that $80, the 200% gain there is going to be taxed by the person you gift the stock to, and not until they sell it. So they could also keep it. Now it is a little different if you die. If you pass away, then when your accounts transfer in a taxable account, you get the stepped up basis, so when people think that's what's happening, when you gift, that's not true. That does not happen if you're alive and you gift it. It does happen if you pass away and that account now transitions to your beneficiaries. Now nobody has to pay tax on all those gains. That could come under fire during the Biden administration, because that's kind of a good deal when you have the, quote unquote, nobody pays the capital gains on something with capital gains. So pretty good deal. Should it be that way? I don't know. It has been for a long time. So it'd be kind of a major shock if that's not true, but it seems like everything else is taxed. So really, why wouldn't you tax that there? You can do electronic transfer of those shares. That's what you need to do, because you can't like sell it and take it. If you have share certificates, you should not have those anymore. There's a way to mail those in and get them digitally registered. So don't keep those around your house or in a safety deposit box. And the reason why is if you do and that stock splits or reverse splits, you have a complete nightmare on your hands, because you have a stock certificate saying one thing and the actual value of it is significantly different. And honestly, you probably don't know the difference until you start doing the research. All right, so basics of transferring, that's gifting. Some people do this. I don't know that this is the best option, but I'm not against it either. Give a share where you gift a single share to a child. I'm not sure that's going to get them super fired up to have one share of something, but it may. I don't know. Whatever you think's best as a parent. So, all right, that's all I've got for you today. Let's check back at the market real quick. So the Dow's down fractionally, S&P, NASDAQ, tech recovering a little bit. So, all right, that's all I've got for you today, and we will check back in with you tomorrow. You guys have a good one. Bye.